Apollo only took me around a few days to get used to, and since then my workflow has improved dramatically, along with my capacity for creative lights. I honestly don't see any reason to use Ableton over Apollo for lights, at all.
Creating mesmerizing light effects that look 1,000 times better than Ableton ever could make them in the fraction of a time it would usually take is just so awesome.
Apollo's really good because you can make light effects that would take a ton of time and effort to create in Ableton, and you can do it in Apollo with like 2 clicks of a button, so that's pretty sexy.
Apollo diversifies my light effects, breaking me free of the limited workspace I once had. Clearly one of the biggest advancements of our community.
Apollo exceeds the expectations of any lights plugin. It's definitely worth the switch.
Apollo just gave me the desire to create more performances.
Making lights with Apollo is so much more fun than making them using MIDI files.
Ever since the first day I discovered the Launchpad on YouTube, I was hooked, right on from the start. But unfortunately, I had no money to actually go and buy myself a Launchpad. As I was just starting to get into programming at that point in time, I decided it would be a cool little exercise to create an application that would map your keyboard button presses to sounds. It had no capabilities for light effects, but I enjoyed it. I absolutely loved it. It felt really, really cool, and I knew I just had to get myself one, that this was something that I enjoy doing and that I want to try and learn. So the following year, around 2015, I actually managed to save up enough money and got out there and bought myself one. It was like a dream come true. I spent hours and days and weeks just learning about how it works, learning how to create samples and light effects in Ableton, and it was honestly just a blast. But I could never forget the program I created as a kid, and I always dreamed of finally completing it by adding some sort of customized light effect support that you would work with right there in a customized environment. I didn't really have an online presence pretty much all the way up until 2017. I opened up my YouTube channel as 2016 was coming to a close. In the period till then, Launchpad really was just one of my hobbies. It wasn't really a big thing for me. I did it time to time, I kept learning. I was simply having fun with it on my own time, and it didn't really feel like a chore or like I was doing anything huge in particular. So around late 2016, I decided to open up my own YouTube channel where I would post my Launchpad works, and I started getting more involved into the community in general. And this was a great deal of fun. I started making my own full covers. People started watching them, people enjoyed watching them, and it gave me a massive confidence boost, and I started learning the Launchpad even more. And at some point during 2017, I even got myself my own Launchpad Pro, so that's another investment I made. It was when I learned about Max for Live and plugin making that my work really got to shine. It always felt fascinating to me that I could make the Launchpad do exactly what I want, without any limitations. And the Launchpad Pro really opened that world up. Covers started feeling more like a chore to me, because I was really enjoying programming for the Launchpad. I could make the Launchpad do exactly what I want, and other people could actually benefit from the features I create for the Launchpad. That was what pushed me the most. Because when you make a cover, someone could download it and learn how you did it. And that's the most that anyone's gonna get out of it. However, when you create and program in new features, people can actually use those on a daily basis, and it can really improve their quality of life when it comes to launchpadding. I created Retina, which allowed you to use a custom RGB color palette with your Launchpad in Ableton. Then I created Outbreak, which was another entirely different set of devices for creating light effects faster and easier in Ableton. But it still felt very limiting as a person who just creates lights and doesn't know about any programming knowledge. There was still only a very finite number of things that you could do in Ableton. Yet the Launchpad offered so many possibilities under the hood that just went completely unused. I was never able to fully realize my idea I had from the start, to make a fully custom lights engine such that I could do whatever I wanted to do with it. And Outbreak was still limited to Ableton's data flow, Ableton's chain hierarchy, and Max's inherent flaws. What pushed me forward was to break free from these limitations. And that meant taking some time off covers to figure out how to break this wall and get full access to the Launchpad as I want to have it. The first step towards this was to get my own code running on the Launchpad itself, and that shows in the form of the performance optimized custom firmware. It was the first real step to unlocking the full potential of the Launchpad, to doing whatever you want with the unit, exactly how you want to do it. While the other Max plugins were something that a lot of other people were doing at the same time, the custom firmware was something that no one really did before I made my own, and I believe a lot of people just appreciated it for what it was. It was something new to refresh your device, make it feel as if it's a new unit and not an old used Launchpad Pro, and it enabled anyone to get any feature they want. They just had to ask for it. I believe the final limitation that we have not yet come over is Ableton itself. The Launchpad was designed to be used with Ableton, but then again, not in the way we use it today. Not with the huge crazy light effects that we see everybody building today. And if you look at it another way, Ableton was never designed for the Launchpad at all. Ableton Live is music production software. It's good at handling audio and mixing it up and processing it into a full song. It's not good at taking weird chunks of data and turning them into light effects. And that was a problem that had to be solved. The only way we could solve it was by creating our own lights engine that would work with the Launchpads and be created for the Launchpad specifically. So we could use all of the features that the Launchpad offers that normally go hidden and unused. And this is my dream come true. That's what Apollo Studio is. Apollo Studio is a fully featured custom light show engine for the Launchpads that I've created in the past couple of months. It was designed by Launchpadders for Launchpadders. It retains a familiar workflow to Ableton Live that everyone is already used to and comfortable with when making covers, while introducing a whole lot of new features. The most important new feature is support for all of the colors on the Launchpad. That's right, the Launchpad natively supports around 262,000 different colors. Normally, you only got to experience 128 of those when working in Ableton. Apollo makes it simple. You no longer have to remember all of the velocity numbers for the color you want. You can now simply select the color you want from a color picker and you're done. Hell, you don't even have to remember all of the colors that are in between your colors when you're doing a fade. You can simply specify 2 colors and the program will generate all the colors in between right then and there for you. It also features an entirely new pattern editor, which is designed to replace MIDI file playback in Ableton Live. It allows you to draw your effect in frame by frame with exactly the colors you want, and it plays back exactly the way you want. When you're using it, you don't even have to use the program at all. You can simply use your Launchpad and create your effect right there on the actual thing without even looking at the screen once. And that's just where Apollo Studio begins. There are a lot of extra features and revamped concepts that help you create your covers better and faster. Apollo Studio releases right here on my YouTube channel on the 1st of August, and it'll be free without any charges for anybody to use. While I want Apollo Studio to be accessible by everyone easily, I put in a lot of hard work to make Apollo Studio possible. You can donate on my Patreon page and support me directly. It really means a lot to me, and any money collected from my Patreon page goes into making better software for the Launchpads and for you. Here's some covers made using Apollo Studio that you can already check out. I'll be putting a link to them in the description so you can see the true power of Apollo even when using early unfinished versions for your light shows. I am mat1jaczyyy and thank you.